Have you ever wondered how Santa Claus went from a hot-headed 4th century saint to a chubby elf in a sleigh? It's a weird and winding journey that took over 1,000 years and spans continents and cultures, but you'll get it in just a few minutes. It's no secret that Santa Claus, or Father Christmas as he's called in Europe, began with St. Nicholas, Bishop of Myra in southern Turkey, but there's more than a touch of another All-Father in this story as well. In the 4th century, Nicholas became a saint due to his acts of generosity. When his parents died, he gave all his inheritance to the poor and became a priest. When a local man in Nicholas's church with 3 daughters was unable to raise a dowry for their marriages, Nicholas came by late one night and tossed sacks of gold through their window, saving the man from embarrassment and his daughters from a destitute future. Fast forward 1,000 years, and paintings of St. Nicholas show him giving gifts by dropping gold bags down chimneys. Nicholas's other most known miracle was reviving local children that had been chopped up and pickled by a butcher during a time of food shortage. It's not quite the same wholesome holiday tale you're normally told, but it's why St. Nicholas is often shown with children. Depictions of these two acts are how most people would have seen Nicholas for the next 1,000 years, as they celebrated his feast day on December 6th of a big guy in a white beard who loves children and dispensed gifts. Sound familiar yet? And coupled with the other Christian winter holiday, Three Kings Day on January 6th, which celebrated the Magi delivering gifts to the infant Christ, and you have a modern holiday in the making. As Christianity spread through Europe, it encountered existing traditions of gift-giving around the midwinter solstice. The Roman Saturnalia on 17th December was a feast that culminated in gift-giving between friends, but it was the Feast of Yule, or the Feast of Odin, which celebrated an old, white, bearded Norse god who rode across the sky on a flying, magical 8-legged horse that would most shape our modern Santa. When he wasn't busy inspiring Tolkien to create Gandalf for Lord of the Rings, Odin was even known to distribute gifts made by elves and dwarves to worthy heroes, and his Yuletide season is still a byword for Christmas even today. Yule was a celebration where the Yule log, really a giant tree, would burn for 12 days and everyone would sit indoors, feasting, singing songs, and telling stories, partly because winters in Northern Europe are ludicrously cold, but also because Odin would ride across the sky with a gang of hooligans called the Wild Hunt, collecting any wicked souls they found in their path. Children would be left small cookies if they had been good, and they would in turn leave out sugar and hay for his magical horse. As Christianity spread northwards, similar traditions gelled together, and it's hard to tell which came first, so that in the Middle Ages you have boots and stockings drying by the fire and a cookie left inside of them on one cold winter's night, a gift that makes a lot more sense when you think about how wet and soggy those socks were, and how much you'd appreciate a nice hot cookie the next morning before you have to put them back on again. This midwinter tradition bumbles along until the Protestant Reformation of the 1600s, which throws out the Catholic saint days and anything that even remotely smacked of paganism. With so many existing holy days on the calendar, they get combined down, and Christmas and Yuletide celebrations mostly stop in Europe at this time, except for in the Netherlands, where traditions of Santa Claus traveled with them to their colony of New Amsterdam. This chance export of St. Nicholas to the New World meant that New York would hold on to the name and tradition of Santa Claus, and it took hold in a fledgling nation that crafted its identity from these old world leftovers. And by 1809, Washington Irving, the writer of the legendary Sleepy Hollow and Rip Van Winkle, knew of a kindly old man who travels across the land giving small gifts to children to keep them entertained through the long winter nights of New York. He outlines it all in his satirical history of New York, a jolly ancient elf who smokes a pipe and then touches his nose to disappear with magic, and even has Santa Claus fly over the founders of New York in a wagon and shout down where they should build their town. Clearly, Santa had changed in his time away, but Irving introduced this Dutch folklore to a larger audience, and the story traveled back across the pond and became increasingly popular with the nostalgia-obsessed Victorians. A few years later, in 1823, we get the poem The Night Before Christmas, and we're off to the races with 8 reindeer gifts down chimneys for children, and even some milk and cookies left as gifts for the visiting white-bearded wanderer. All of which are mixes and mutations of millennia-old traditions. With increasing import and production of toys for children, St. Nicholas as Santa Claus was quickly adopted as a mascot for toy companies to encourage shopping for gifts at Christmas time. His trademark red outfit appears in newspapers and books when red ink was used to highlight important words and holidays, and is included in depictions of Santa from at least the 1860s and the American Civil War. But the modern image and costume of Santa was created as an advertising campaign by the Coca-Cola Company in the 1920s and 30s. Some of these hand-painted hugs of warmth and nostalgia were crafted by none other than Norman Rockwell himself, who helped shape the concept of modern Americana. So that now you've got plastic Santas glowing with rosy cheeks in the snow, which is a long way for a saint from sunny southern Turkey to have traveled. But I hope St. Nicholas of Myra would appreciate the spirit of generosity and gift-giving that his name still inspires to this day. Though this is the same man who once punched another bishop at a church council, so let's just be thankful that part of Santa Claus didn't catch on. And now you know how we got from St. Nicholas to Santa Claus. Thanks for watching.